Alright, so the song Scream, I actually kind of know this process a little bit more than I did The Grave. I wrote this joint probably, I think it was in 2012 when I wrote this. Yeah, man. So to keep the long story short, there was a song by a popular Christian rapper called Gone, I'm Gone, and it was by Cannon on his project, his mixtape, The Great Investment. And I got that mixtape shortly after I heard Cannon's verse on Blow Your High by Lecrae. And so I kind of had that song. It was always one of my favorites from the mixtape. And right around the time that I was working on The Enemy Inside, the initial, creation of it, I knew I kind of wanted to do a remix of it. And so the song I'm Gone borrows a sample from the Saw soundtrack.
I'm gone like I told ya, gone like I told ya.
I don't know why that's the case. I don't think the concept or lyrical stuff of the song has anything to do with Saw. But anyway, Cannon used that sample for the song, and it basically is like the building block. Like it's the motif of that song, like that whole like da-na-na, 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 da-na-na. So I knew I wanted to kind of keep that part within my interpretation of the track. And like initially it was going to be a straight up remix. Like I had the beat, the hook was basically, I think it was the same beat, the same hook. I think I was going to rearrange some things lyrically, but it was supposed to be a rapped hook. And so I worked on the instrumental, pulled a lot of influence from the Saw theme song, but also wanted to kind of do my own thing too. So, brought in the guitars and had some real synthesizer stuff going on. And then, so at the time, I'm going back. So at the time, my good friend Leslie Mosby was really kind of a partner on a lot of this type of stuff. And even though we didn't really work closely together on music a lot, we would occasionally, like especially during the summer, he would come over and we would kind of work on beats and stuff. But we never actually collaborated on a song until much later. But I would always kind of run my song ideas by him and just kind of get his perspective and idea on like how he felt about it. And so I did that with this song, but at the time was called Gone Like I Told You, but what ended up becoming Scream. And I was like, yeah, man. So I showed him the beat and I showed him the lyrics I'd written, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna, basically rap the whole thing. Got this hook that I've written, and I'm just gonna rap it. It's gonna be cool. And he was like, man, like on this particular part of the beat, it would really be sick if you sang on it. And I was like, huh, that was not at all my plan, but I'll give it a thought. I'll think about it. And so got home, I don't know when this all happened, but basically eventually revisited the lyrics that I'd written for the hook, and I was like, I'm gonna try to just do this completely differently. Like I said before on the Grave video, I just kind of was going still with that very much dark vibe that I got when I did The Grave, still going for that. And honestly, the Scream is honestly kind of like almost a carbon copy of The Grave, but nonetheless, went back to that same space and pulled out a really emotionally driven chorus that was like super dark, like just like fear is rising, I'm still trying, people are dying, and I just want to scream. And so, yeah, I don't remember when all that happened. I don't remember when that idea hit me initially, but nonetheless, that's what ended up being the hook that stayed, the chorus that stayed. And from there, man, the writing process for that track was like super, super easy, because the chorus had me like right in that headspace of just knowing exactly what I wanted to say. And a lot of Scream can be traced back to No Way Out, which was another favorite of Leslie's from Storm. He really dug that track, and so knowing that he was a big fan of that one, and that he really, inspired me to kind of take the singing route on the chorus in Scream, I was like, man, let me just keep that same cadence and that same, lyrical premise, and let's just go with that and let that be the whole composition of the song. And so, yeah, that joint, we went from, I feel like Joe, my life is wearing out. It's like, it's just straight up like just, the hardest, you're in you're in the pit, just like struggling. And then like I can't say so much that I was really feeling that a lot, but nonetheless, I really tried to speak to that at the time. And so, yeah, man, did it. The recording process for Scream was like that. I recorded that joint. I think it was like a Tuesday afternoon after school. Came home, fired up my computer, went into the closet, and just knocked that joint out in like all like one takes all the way through. And it was fun. That was like I got really fond memories of working on that song. And so finished it up, put it out. It was really yeah. And one more thing. So you can see it from here. Let me show you real quick. So right there, man. Rocky Balboa, Rocky 4. I've got the Rocky collection on VHS. And around the time that I was working on Scream, I just had a real like serious impulse and desire to include like a Rocky sample of some sort. And so initially I was gonna use the scene from Rocky Balboa where he's talking to his son, and he's like, "Hey man, listen, the world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very dangerous place." Like, you know, like that. It's like famous now on the internet, and everybody uses it for motivational videos. But at the time, it wasn't like that necessarily. And I just really felt like, man, this is a really cool, you know, monologue. Let me use this. Tried to fit it in. It didn't really work, especially with the tone of Scream. So I was like, nah, I need something different. So then I went to Rocky 3, and there was that scene between, you know, it was like right after Rocky lost the fight to Mr. T, Clubber Lang, and he's training with Apollo, and Apollo's like, "Man, what are you doing, bro? This guy's gonna kill you out there if you don't get your act together." And he's like, all right, let's do it tomorrow. And he's like, "No, there is no tomorrow. There is no." And so I was like, man, let's use that. That's sick. And then there's that part where he says, "There is no tomorrow," and Rocky hits the mirror, and it's like right on beat. And I was like, yo, that's just begging to be sampled. And so I took the sample of that and put it in the Scream. And on that part where he hits the mirror, that's where I started the beat. And so, and yeah, man, that was, that was, I almost forgot about that, but that was really big, and it kind of set the stage for where that song would go tonally. And so, yeah, man, that's Scream, I think, in a nutshell. That's pretty much it. I don't have a whole lot more else to say about it. It was a really cool song. To this day, still really appreciate it, and yeah, it's awesome, bro. So, yeah.
I'm for the Scream.